Hello, friends. Happy Friday. Woo, woo, woo. We're ready for the weekend.
And it's a long
we go,
weekend here.
yes, and this is your girl Gigi, and I am happy to be back here, healthy, happy, and ready to share my wisdom with you. And hello, Andrea.
Hey, I'm excited to be here too.
Yes, it's
I
amazing.
love
It's a
Fridays because I'm off work.
Uh, actually, this is a long weekend. Are you off on Monday or are you working? Okay.
I'm
Yeah, it's
off.
a long weekend. Yeah, we all like that long weekend. I'm excited about it. Um, this morning I got up I got up at 2:50. I had 45 minutes. Yes, I had 45-minute meditation. And again, that's not required through the group,
Right.
but I take some other, time cut off just to do that because I really needed it. I felt like I've been just moving a lot. So I was like, okay, it's time to refocus. And it felt really good by the time I finished that. And it was funny because um, today, after I finished that, and then I was like, I'm craving breakfast on a bed, but I had to go to work.
You are so funny.
So I'm really craving breakfast in a bit. So I know. And then, so I did all my activities. And that's the benefit of actually getting up that early, to be honest with you. I mean, you have a lot of hours.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do, for someone, but you have a lot of hours. So what I did was I did all that, and then today, this morning, I did not work out. I did not do my workout. So I made up the breakfast. So I made the breakfast and yes. And then me and my husband was able to have, breakfast. And then he
Oh.
was still on the bed. So I was able to serve him instead of me having one. Okay.
Oh.
But yeah. And after I have the breakfast, I was so sleepy. But I had to get myself together and then report to work. So that was my beautiful Friday morning breakfast and routine for today. I want to hear yours.
Mine's different, but yet it's the same. My 2:50 wake up call came at 9 a.m.
Oh,
And so I
okay.
made, yeah, so I got my uh, coffee and I sat outside in the chair and in the shade, and I turned on my guided meditation from Bob Proctor. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's free, so I may post that out there because
Mm-hmm.
I think they there's so much stuff they give away for free, and I want to put some of that good stuff to use. But anyway, I love this meditation. I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
even as I was, you're laying there and you're being quiet and all, but ideas just start
It
coming
does.
in, and I don't want to write them down because I don't want to get out of that state, but actually it's not real hard to stay in that state, but I have to write it down because it's such great information comes during those times, so I get my
Mm-hmm.
phone out and I'll speak it, that way it doesn't take as long as writing it down.
Yes.
Um, But anyway, yeah, that was wonderful. So I got like an hour and a half before I just, came in and started bustling around to get ready. But then also none of this, like she said, none of this is required. We just
No.
go, we've just been studying it for a long time, and it's become so much of our lifestyle.
Yeah,
But
you
while
get
I
kind of
was,
like, yeah, you get kind of like addicted to it a little bit, which is a
I
good
do,
addiction.
I do because it makes it. I told y'all, I'm getting my answers. Life
Hmm.
makes sense to me. I'm in that channel, and I used to for so many years, it's just, especially if you're familiar with the church life, we always talk
Yeah.
about the valleys and the mountains, the valleys and the mountains. Oh my goodness. Talk about changing. My whole outlook has changed. The more you get that positive information, you've got to get that positive information because remember in our paradigm video, we see that we've got all the old information in our conscious mind, and we've got all the old information in our subconscious. And so we've got to put the good information in our subconscious, and that takes repetition. So I
Yeah.
don't know how I got off on that, but it's good
Yeah.
information anyway.
Yes.
I want to remind everybody, take that moment to just remind everybody to be sure that, you know, you may not be spending 45 minutes or an hour or
Yeah.
anything like that. Take 5-10 minutes a day. Start somewhere.
Yes.
Start where you are.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like, because what I know, what we know, the more we learn is like the more I start to understand the difference between conscious mind and subconscious mind. Conscious mind is only 5%, subconscious mind 95%.
Mhm.
So, and that's where our habits and, you know, our habit is, and we perform based on our habits. So we can dream all the ones, whatever we want to dream, but if we are performing based on our habits, as adults, we should definitely take responsibility, because one, we become familiarized. And the good thing with we learning is that actually, if we can just plug in these affirmation meditation while we sleep, it take care. I mean, saved us a lot of time. And when we get up, eventually we will start to perform based on our wishes and desire, which is our 5% conscious mind, and it will do automatically. So I really love the fact that we can do that while we sleep, and I definitely, you know, I do that now daily. So because of that, you know, it's like we're not those kids anymore, and this information is out there for us. I feel like today I was like, well, oh my gosh, we have to be very responsible to do these things, because if not, we're just going to continue that receiving those disappointments, like you say, you know, ups and downs, and we can't even explain it. You know, it's like if you don't know this, you'll be like, why am I going? I have been there. You know,
Me
it's like,
too.
yeah, I have been there, and I, you know, and I say I have good tensions. I really want to do this. I really want to finish this. I really want to exercise. Before you know it, and you falling back, and then you're working twice and you falling back. Now I understand what the magic is, and I'm gonna, you know, yes, the paradigm is gonna come back. Of course, I still have my old habits, but that's why we're doing what we're doing. So in that way, our, you know, will become a habit. We are taking 90 days of success habits journey,
Mhm.
and that's what we're trying to develop. And so, um, you know, it is amazing to know that now we have the tools. I mean, the
Yeah.
information is there for us to learn, to implement. And when I was listening to this book today and reading it, I was like, you know, the more I read it, the more I learn it. And, you know, I start to understand it even more and more. So if we can actually pick up from our book and be able to discuss from that, it would be very, you know, beneficial to us and to everybody else, actually. And we were where it says one universal healing principle.
In
You have
chapter
anything?
4, correct?
Yes, chapter 4. You have anything highlighted on that?
I do. I'll just start out that first section. It
Okay.
is a well-known fact that all of the various schools of healing affect cures of the most wonderful character. The most obvious conclusion which strikes your mind is that there must be some underlying principle which is common to them all, namely the subconscious mind, and the one process of healing is faith.
Mhm.
It will now be in order to recall to your mind once more the following fundamental truths. First, that you possess mental functions which have been distinguished by designating one of the conscious mind and the other the subconscious mind.
Mhm.
Secondly, your subconscious mind is constantly amenable to the power of suggestion. Furthermore, your subconscious mind has complete control of the functions, conditions, and sensations of your body. And
Mhm.
I shouldn't have read that far because there was a point I wanted to make out there after uh, where it was talking about the most obvious conclusion which strikes your mind is that there must be some underlying principle which is common to them all, namely the subconscious mind, and the one process of healing is faith. And I just want to point out something again that I think we brought out yesterday is that just because we're talking about the subconscious mind healing does not mean it doesn't come from God. God
Mhm.
created us that way. He
Yes.
created us in his image.
Mhm.
Power is there in us because we were created with it. It's there
Mhm.
for our
Mhm.
ability, for our use.
Yeah.
So I just don't want anybody to get, hung up on thinking that all that power was within us. The power is within all of us. We're all connected, and it all comes from God.
Yeah. 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 It's just these people, they are making us aware actually your healing does not come from outside. Your healing comes from inside, inside of you, because you have it. You have the power. They just given us the key. You have the power, and that power is in our mind. And also, and the way we will be healed is that by having faith.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it
taking
can
action.
exactly, exactly. And it says at the bottom, after you finish the secondly, your subconscious mind, he say, I ventured to believe that all readers of this book are familiar with the fact that symptoms of almost any disease can be induced in hypnotic subject by suggestions. For example, a subject in hypnotic state can be develop a high temperature, flushed face, or chills according to the nature of the suggestion given. By experiment, you can suggest to the person that he is paralyzed and cannot walk. It will be so. By illustrating, you can hold a cup of cold water under the nose of the hypnotic subject and tell him, this is a full pepper, smell it. He will proceed to a sneeze.
Hmm.
What do you think caused him to sneeze? The water or the suggestion? The suggestion, of course.
Yes.
So, and it shows us the power of suggestions, and and that's why it's like a lot of once you understand these, a lot of time, you want to be cautioned what we say to kids, because kids between the age of 0, I think they say between the age of 0 to 7, their mind is so open, which is the subconscious mind, and any information they receive it just drop down to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, as I have shared, is just like a recording tape. It just takes in, and no matter what kind of information, it doesn't evaluate. It just records. So when we are speaking positive or negative, there is being just dropped in their subconscious mind, and eventually that becomes a habit, and then they perform throughout their life until their conscious mind kicks in, and they start to kind of know, because their subconscious mind is a gateway. So it guards from information coming in. If not, can you imagine being on the street with all of these informations that we exposed to? I mean, it would be out of control. So it's good that we have our conscious mind, but at the same time, if we're not trained, we still would not use our conscious mind properly.
The
Would you
decisions that
say
we
that?
make on a the decisions that we make on a daily basis, we're making because of what's in our subconscious mind. You
Yeah.
know, that's where we live. That's who we really are. And so the reason why we're getting the results we're getting is because the decisions we're making are based on that inner belief, what we believe now. But
Mm-hmm.
as you grow that and put more information in, the reason why we get addicted to this is because you start seeing results.
Yes.
You start seeing your life changing because you're making new decisions based on new information.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You are putting new thoughts, new seeds, and you're going to get a new fruit out of it,
mhm,
instead of the old recording tape that just recycles. And that's the thing too. When if anybody takes time to think about it, they're thinking the same thing they've been thinking yesterday or the day before yesterday, and that's when you really know that the subconscious mind is really a recording tape. And it's amazing, because we can say all we want to say today, like, oh, I want to go home and just exercise, but what is in our subconscious mind? Because the subconscious mind rule us. When we get to work, when we get to home to want to put on our clothes, and did our subconscious accept that? If not, subconscious mind is going to say, no, you're going to sleep. Or don't get up yet. Oh, not today. You don't have to do it today.
My name's Andrea, and I'm reforming those habits.
I'm telling you. So, but it kind of helps you to learn your, understand yourself. And he says, if a man says he is allergic to Timothy grass, you can place a synthetic flower or empty glass in front of his nose when he is in hypnotic state and tell him it is Timothy grass. He will portray the usual allergic symptoms. This indicates that the cause of the disease is in the mind. The healing of the disease can also take place in mentally. So the healing is in the mind and the disease also in the mind. So we need to practice which one we want to live in, and that's why it is so important for us to start putting in a new seeds of thoughts, beautiful words, to live by and to listen to, and just start listening. And that's what I found for me the easiest way to do when I'm at work. Listen to either beautiful music that is, it could be like a church music, or it could be uplifting, positive music, or listen to actually affirmation meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, because the subconscious mind is constantly working 24 hours, so it will drop some of those ideas in there, and eventually, before you know it, you are saying, "I am happy."
That's right.
Yeah, so it kind of like to me, I find that to be effortless a little bit. The same way while we sleep doing that, and also while we're working listening to that, because now we're not talking about writing it down. And writing it down, of course, that's another. We have to do that too. But now while we're working, while we washing dishes,
Mm-hmm.
it's just putting in this these positive information in our mind.
That's why
Okay.
I buy the Audible books, is
Hmm.
because, I mean, it's not something, an Audible book is not something you want to just listen to once. I keep
No.
it playing while I'm cleaning, I work in the yard, all that. I have it playing when I'm showering, all that. But because I listen to them over and over, you notice when your mind checks out, because you don't notice it when it checks
Yes.
out, but you notice it when it checks back in, because they'll say
Yes.
something in the book and then my mind will take off to another direct, thinking on that thought. And then when I come back in, he's talking about something else. Well, the next time I listen to it, then my mind is going to check out in a different spot.
Yes.
So you pick up new things all the time, and you're just, without even paying attention, close attention. I'm listening, but without
Yes.
even paying close attention, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. So there's so many ways that you can do it without even having to stop what your daily routine is.
Yes,
It does make a
absolutely.
difference.
It does make a difference. Okay, I'm on the top of wildly different theories. I'm on the top of that. I have highlight something over there if you don't have anything highlight.
You go ahead. Mine's at the
Okay,
bottom.
okay. I have where it says, notice how it heals a cut on your face caused by shaving. He's talking about the subconscious mind. It knows exactly how to do it. This is so true. The doctor dresses the wound and says, nature heals it. Nature refers to natural law, the law of subconscious mind, or self-preservation, which is a function of the subconscious mind. The instinct of self-preservation is the first law of nature. Your strongest instinct is the most potent of all auto-suggestions. So for me, is we have to learn how to listen to ourself, um, and and also we have to be our own best doctor, because and the way to do it is the conversation that we are having. It is true, like most of the time, like you say, if there's any cut on our, when they are shaving, automatically heals it. We don't have to do anything about it, and it just automatically heals. And we never questions that. We take it for granted.
That's
We
because we've
never,
already experienced it.
that's true. That's true.
We've already seen that we didn't have to do anything for cuts, small things, scrapes and all to heal. We already believe
That's
because we've seen it happen.
Imagine, you're right. Now imagine that cut, if we don't believe it, I think we will reverse.
Hmm.
We will reverse, and that's what he mentioned before. Like you say, we experience it now, and we have faith. We'll just heal ourselves.
Hmm.
But if Go ahead. If somebody
We
comes,
see that. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
if somebody comes in with with auto suggestion and say, well, that would never heal,
Yes.
what is they go? They're going to create that false, information in our mind, and we're like, wait a minute, I thought that healed. And so we really need to pay attention to what we taking in, and also from outside and from inside, because the biggest one is, what are we saying to ourselves? What is our conversation inwardly? Because God hears that,
Hmm.
and God is the one who heal us, and who listen to us when we are silent. What are we saying to ourselves? And that's where our result comes in. That's where our subconscious mind is also listening too. So we could be all this busy and everything, but if our inner talk doesn't match, and I personally experienced that, and that's why I'm working on this. um, if our inner conversation is not as well as our outer talk, we're not going to go far in life, and we're not going to be happy. So let's have a beautiful conversation with our own self, because that matters the most, actually. And on the next page, after where say widely different theories, do you have anything highlight there?
I do.
Okay.
All of these groups, such as psychiatrists, psychologists, osteopaths, chiropractors, physicians, and all the churches are using the one universal power resident in the subconscious mind. Each may proclaim the healings are due to their theory. The process of all healing is a definite positive mental attitude, an inner attitude or way of thinking called faith. Healing is due to a confident expectancy which acts as a powerful suggestion to the subconscious mind, releasing its healing potency.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, that positive mental attitude and inner attitude or way of thinking called faith. And the
Mm-hmm.
way you get that attitude to be dominant is repetition,
Mm-hmm.
continuously reading, putting in input from these books and the Bible that build your confidence in that faith.
Absolutely. And there is this the bottom of that. Also, in the next paragraph, it says there is only one process of healing, and that is faith. So it doesn't matter what kind of tools we're using. Um, we have to have faith in it's going to heal us. Then we will be healed. Whatever it is that we are using, because all of these people that you named, they all healing, but one might work for another, the other one might work and the whole thing he's trying to get across to this chapter, what I was reading, is that he is saying, choose what makes you comfortable.
You can believe
Choose
in
what
it
makes you
better.
comfortable, and yeah, what you believe. And because the biggest power is, we all possess that power to be healed. Because our mind God has created us in a way that our body can heal itself.
Yes.
It's not the tools that's coming from outside that is really healing us at all, but whatever it is, the tools that we are going to apply ourselves to heal us, we need to believe in it. Because if somebody comes and say, here, this is going to heal you, and you don't believe it, it's not going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and the same way is, like, if somebody says, like, if they never ate something, for example, and if they say, well, I never ate that, and you say, well, this is good, try it, and I never ate that, it doesn't even look good, and if you force it on them and they eat it, eventually they might get sick, because it's not something they did not accept. It's just as simple as that, pretty much. So we need to have that belief, and we need to have that faith for whatever that we choosing It needs to be okay with us. That's it. It needs to be okay with us in order for us to experience that blessing.
I do want to point out that if people are very sick and your doctor has you on medication, please continue to take your
Oh
medication.
yeah.
You you can take the medication while you're retraining your subconscious mind, and eventually you won't have a need for it.
Yes.
But we're not in any way saying don't take your
No.
medication. We're saying during that process, while you are being healed or using the medication, be retraining your subconscious mind, and then you'll
Hmm.
become less dependent on it.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And they actually, a lot of doctors that I have been listening, they appreciate that when your patient actually, working on their mental, they
Mhm.
appreciate that because it makes the process faster for them to be healed. And
Yeah,
yeah, it
absolutely.
does. Yeah, so it is a good thing to implement, to add this on the top of, the treatment that we are getting from a doctor, if there's any one of us are getting. And I'm so glad you point that out because we do not want to lead anyone in a wrong, path at all. And so at the bottom of where it say topic where it says the views of paracles, then at the bottom of that he says faith, however, produces miracles, and whether it is true or false, faith, it will always produce the same wonders.
If you're believing for negative, for wrong, if you've got a cut and you are worried about it and you're constantly looking at it and you're constantly picking at it, or you're constantly thinking, oh my gosh, or you've got a spot on you that you're constantly upset at, it's just constantly worrying you, and it's a fear. Your thoughts are based on fear, 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 then
Yes.
chances are that you'll end up with what you're afraid of, because your fears do come about.
Yes. And so I guess, pretty much since me and you, our main discussion here is our goals, right? That's what we're planning to install in people. So now, why don't we shift from the mind of thinking, oh, I cannot do this or I cannot do this. That's true. That was your old program. Now let's start to think about how is the possibility. Let's start being a child again. Let's ask ourselves, like, what do I want to be within the next 90 days?
Mhm. Yeah.
Who do I want to look like? What kind of, place do I want to be? And 5 years from now, and a year from now, and let's just start to think like a child, and then as soon as what I notice, as soon as we start to think like a child, there is a spark that goes in our mind, and it definitely put us back to that little child, and oh, it's possible.
And
It's
you feel it
possible.
throughout your whole body. You feel that. It feels
Yes, and
exciting and free.
yes, and we know, as we've been reading also, that imagination is the key. Imagination is the key, and adding the feeling to that imagination is what give us that, magic, pretty much. So we already use our imagination all day long. We are seeing pictures all day long. We are talking to ourselves all day long. Now we need to monitor, what are we talking and what are we imagining, what are we seeing. Let's replace it to what we want so we can create the life we want to create. Again, by all means, we're not saying it's easy. We are introducing you to the options that we have, because we are created to do that. We are created to do that, and you have the tools today. We have all the tools to be able to do that. So and just one final point before actually we ended this chapter, a couple of final points. um, I have, it's under, this one is under where it says the cause of bloody stigma.
Mhm.
So this is the last sentence where he says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. We become what we think about.
Make it worth your while.
Yeah, we become what we think about. You have any couple of points you want to read for us from the healing points and review?
Remind yourself frequently that the healing power is in your own subconscious mind. Know that faith is like a seed planted in the ground. It grows after its kind. Plant the idea or seed in your mind. Water and fertilize it with expectancy, and it will manifest. In praying for another, know that your silent inner knowing of wholeness, beauty, and perfection can change the negative patterns of the other's subconscious mind and bring about wonderful results. And what I'm glad that it says that. And I've learned how to pray because of these teachings and all. It goes back to that, where when you're praying for somebody, it's not so much a bunch of words as it is that picture that you replay over and over in your mind of them being whole, being healed, being home, having a job, whatever it is, seeing people making a little movie clip in my mind of that outcome. And I do that with my own life. But it's a process. It's a process. I'm learning.
Yeah, because I'm glad you mentioned that, because I mean, like, I'm learning, you're learning, and we're sharing as we're learning. If we think of the person as in they are sick, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. We are taking that sickness on us.
Exactly. Good point. Yes, because your subconscious mind doesn't know you're thinking and feeling that about somebody else. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that out.
So that's why the key is to being able to see. I mean, it's not just sickness, okay? This is we talking about when you see your friends, when you see your family members, always look at the positive way and successful way, happy way, because when the way you see them, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The way you are seeing them is you are translating to yourself. Because the mind does not know whether if it is you thinking for the so and so or for you. So if you always think healthy thought, positive thought, success thought, and that's what we always will get. So now when you say sickness, the majority of people who's not aware of this really feel sorry for the sick person, and they sympathize with the person that is sick, but that's not benefiting the sick person. That's not benefiting even the person who's feeling that way. So we need to learn how to start seeing people in a healthy way, a positive way, success way, and the way God will see us.
Yes, what you send out comes back. No matter what you're feeling about yourself or anybody else, it comes back to you.
Yes.
It's a lot. It seems overpowering at times as you're learning it, but I promise you will get rewarded along the way. You will see yourself growing. You will become more aware of things that you don't want in your life. I used to struggle and try so hard to get things out of my life that I called sin. And as I'm more focused on the positive and on the good things, I'm not even aware. My mind is not even focused on anything like that. Things just disappear.
Our power is in our thinking.
All the power's in our thinking.
Our power is in our thinking. We can either bring death to our thinking, or we can bring life. And I'm not sure which scripture it is, but God does, the scripture says that I give you life and death. Choose life. So how do we choose that? Our thinking.
That's Deuteronomy 28. Yes.
There we go.
My favorite.
So our thinking, let's think healthy, let's think positive, and to all human beings that we come contact with, because we all one. And the more we learn this, we understand we all one. So because of that, I think of healthy thought to all people that I come across, because that's what I want for myself. So what I want for myself, I want for everybody in the world.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so um we finished chapter 4, so we will start on the next chapter, and of course I'll be able to share that link so other people can follow us. I'm really enjoying and learning this book, and I'm so happy we are doing this book because you see, in the beginning of this chapter, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, this chapter. But now I am so free. I am so free from,
Yay.
yeah, we're not saying the subconscious mind is the, God. We are saying that there is God created everything, and God created for us to be able to have that power. And this man is introducing us that power. So, and I'm so grateful for you for enlightening me with that. And if you don't have anything to say, everyone have a beautiful Friday. And I look forward to having our first meeting tomorrow with our
That's
groups.
right.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
so excited about that. All right. Have a good day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.